Yes.
Waiting to be admitted. Admitter.
Yes, I'm coming. I'm setting up the live also. Okay. Okay, both of them are here. So, both of them are
Hello,
here.
Lagos. Okay.
Oh. We are live. Okay, start.
Good evening, Lagos. Good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, the world. Welcome to the 4 at 5. Today, I still have my beautiful ladies, the audacious ladies. Bumi, say hi to the audience.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. How are you? I said the same.
And I have Regina. Regina is here. Regina, hi.
Yeah.
Regina, can you hear me?
What
hi.
are you doing in the car?
I have
yes,
my
hi.
house.
Hi.
I have my children and the grandchildren came visiting. So I left the house because once they hear my voice, they will come. So I had to leave the house and enter the car. So that's a good question.
Okay.
Now that's what I'm doing. Yeah. So and we now have Gozie. Where's Gozie? Gozie?
Hello, I'm here.
Yes. Gozie, this your lips is looking and to and to think that what we are now, part of the things we are going to look about now is this, this item 7 that has to do with this your lips. Anyway, okay, today we are continuing our discussion. I'm in the car because my children and my grandchildren came visiting, so they are inside the house. I know that once they hear my voice, even if I go to another part, they will now want to come and be inquisitive and find out. So I didn't want to be sending everybody. I said, let me come and hide in my car. That's why I'm sitting in the car. So last week we had an interesting discussion, and it was nice because we now saw everybody's we brought out because the reality is that what we're trying to do is to bring out every other widow's mind, especially when you look at what Gozie said, when she made a point and people were shunning her down, when every time they tell you it is well, and but today we are continuing on that discussion, religion and the widowhood, because that discussion is very broad, and it's still every now and then there's a thin line between religion and widow and the culture. It's one rubs into the other, and like I keep saying, there's always a gap for the two of them to agree to take the one that is good and drop the one that is bad. So like we know based on religion, and which Regina made it clear to us that one of the reasons Muslims widow seems to do, especially when it comes to remarriage, because we are looking at remarriage today. Basically, we are looking at remarriage. Last week we tried to look at the empowerment, what they can do. We have not exhausted that. We'll still come that when questions are being asked from people. But we are looking at remarriage because I'm going to put this way. Islam, because it's their practice, you are entitled to marry 4 wives. That is their religion. So I am going to start with Regina. We know our religion do not agree to 2 wives or more than 1 wife. But I'm going to ask this question: Christianity in the Old Testament. Are you ladies hearing me?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, Christianity in the Old Testament practiced the deliberate marriage. We know what is the deliberate marriage. It's the idea of brother-in-law remarrying the wife, which fortunately or unfortunately was a culture that was an African culture. And it's still an African culture, though today Christianity and human rights is working against it. I always say Christianity because it is unbiblical for New Testament to marry more than 1. Human rights because some of the force, most of them were coerced, we are forced to marry that marriage. But my question is this, and that's where I want us to make this debate today. The New Testament has very plain, a lot of biblical verses that encourages that remarriage. Regina, are you there?
I'm waiting with you.
Yes.
I'm
the
with
New
you.
Testament has, yes, the New Testament, you know, the Old Testament did the leverage marriage, the brother, which was a culture being discarded. But the New Testament has this remarriage even in the Bible, because that's why it said till they do the part. And the day I saw that 1 Timothy 5:14, where Paul said, if young widows should be encouraged to go and remarry. My question is this: is this young widows being encouraged to go and remarry? But is the church doing balancing out this go and I mean, what do you understand by this word? Encouraged to go and remarry. Let me start with you, Regina.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It's been a long time. It felt like a long time, really, coming to see everybody. I was waiting for today, and I'm glad that God has. So glad to see everybody looking sparky. Amen. I saw Gosde looking so good. Okay.
With her succulent lips.
I like the hair. The cut is beautiful. It's beautiful. Let's go back to the Bible. Now, you actually said it. As a Christian, we are every Christian that calls himself or herself born again sees it from the perspective that we are working in a different dispensation, which all of us call the dispensation of grace. We are not necessarily, because the Bible says Jesus came to fulfill the law. And so that's why we're saying that all the 10 commandments do not necessarily have to be relieved, because here Jesus died. Once we accept him, you're forgiven. So there's nothing like the eye for an eye, the leg for a leg, and all those stuff. Because if it was so, we would have been practicing. And if you check the Bible, Jesus, there was a time in the epistles, Jesus was asked, they said, okay, tell us how we're going to divorce our wives. Okay, if we divorce as a brother, because in that culture also, which we find practiced in Africa, there are brothers taking over their sister. And I think it's also in Plateau State and in northern part of the country. Brother over his sister. But over time, so Jesus answered, he said, in the beginning it was not so. He said, in the beginning it was not so. He said, because of your own desires. That was why Moses had to give you, say, okay, give her a letter of divorce. Because Jesus was coming to say, okay, this is not the idea of God in the first place. It's over time, rebellion and everything. A man began to
Regina.
to divert.
That is the church.
No,
let's go back to our discussion.
And I'm not going far. I'm not going building up.
Okay.
I'm not going far.
Yeah.
Okay. We have moved on. And we are in the New Testament. Don't forget, the person that gave this advice that you're talking about, 1 Timothy, is the person that the whole Bible, we knew he didn't marry. He didn't marry. Do you understand? Apostle Paul never married.
Exactly.
He got to the point he said, he wishes anybody, I mean, people will be like him, but not everybody.
But if you cannot.
Now, don't forget also, yes, he said he wishes. And I think it's in the same breath, in the same mindset that is coming to say, okay, he's talking to a particular church. Every church that Paul spoke to, he was responding to an issue within the church.
We are still saying the same. The issue with Reggie. I'm sorry, I have to cut you, because I want us to be, getting to the issue we are talking. It's the same Pope. All the, like the Bible said, the scripture was inspired, and the Bible was inspired by the Spirit, and it's so he has said it. young widows should be encouraged to marry. The question is this: is that encouragement based on the society? You said in the culture. Is it? I'm going to come back to you so that let's.
No. If you do that, we're not going to address this thing because it will look like I've answered and not answered. I'm not running away from the question. I am building up because I am telling you we should have a balance, a background. Like Bumi said last week, there must be from chapter 1, verse 1 to the end, so that will not look like we're off the scripture. Now, the truth of it is that he gave an example because there was something that is an issue within the church. How the young widows were not good. So he had to say he's encouraging them, and they should be encouraged to get married because they were not. They couldn't keep themselves. Now, your question is this: that is thing being done here? I mean, within this dispensation or the church in Nigeria, let's put it that way, or the present church. And I tell you, yes, and I'll tell you yes in the sense that because I'm still talking to you because I have more experience from the northern perspective, and I told you that within the church in the north, within the church, this is highly, highly encouraged. And I gave you last week, I said, some of them are even given a deadline, especially when they're males, but we're talking the widow themselves, the widow herself. Some are given time, you should marry. But unfortunately also, and I must accept also, the encouragement is more on the males. They actually want to encourage the males when they're widowers, go and remarry quickly. You find that it's easier to encourage the man or the widowers to go. But hold on, let's be, will never comes. They never really come out, although it's obvious. But can we say that the pulpit, which is what we're going to discuss further, is it the pulpit that would actually tell the woman to marry? Was it actually the pulpit that told the woman not to get married? That is another question that we should have to face. Is it the pulpit?
We are going to get exactly.
Yeah.
You know what we are going to come back to you. What I'm going to take from you and go to Gozie before I get to Bumi is you made a point that in the north, and Gozie, you see the thing we are, I'm bringing out from what she says. In the north, the church is encouraging them. Meaning, the reality is this: the culture of the north had, having rubbed in from the Muslim religion, which is more wife. So you can see to me, because how the effect of their culture had a way of them taking that culture in a way to administer it using Bible principle by talking to them. Gozie, please, I'm going to ask you this thing. When we talk of encouragement of widows, Paul said it, Gozie, that encouragement, to me, I've not been able to balance it. Is it just calling the widows, just like Regina said? Is it the pulpit or is it the widows? Is encouragement just calling the widows that to know and to go and get married? Is that enough? Is it a balanced discussion here? That's Gozie, please, can we?
Okay, what I have to say in this regarding your question is this. For instance, before the woman got married and became widowed, she was a single girl. And no pulpit encouraged her to marry. Nobody went to the pulpit and said, you are 5 years, marry. Except in families where his mothers blackmailed their daughters into some marriages. Now, I don't know why a widow should now wait for pulpit to tell her to marry. No pulpit in Nigeria might be ready to preach that. And even if they preach it, a widow that is not prepared will not go to remarry. So my perspective is, if you are widowed and you want to remarry, if you like, sit down there and be waiting for pulpit to tell you to go and remarry. If you cannot stay on, the Bible supports you to remarry. But for me, from experience with widows, young widows in the East Igbo land, Anambra, Enugu, Imo, Abia, even if the church tells them every morning to go and remarry, who will they remarry? Is it families that will want to kill their husbands? Or is it that mother-in-law that will tell the son she will commit suicide if she remarries a widow? Or is it that sister-in-law that when they bring a widow home, no matter how hardworking and pretty she is, they will talk down on her? So it still goes back to the family unit. A lot of men don't even want to remarry. Some of the men that are going to for rich widows with big buildings and fat bank accounts. And when they find out you don't have all, they run away. So it's beyond the church. I want to look at it from the widow's perspective.
It's beyond the church.
Yeah, you widow, are you ready to remarry? And when we talk about our culture, Islam, yes, for women and all of that, but our culture used to encourage polygamy until the church is infiltrated, until the advent of the church. And now it became one wife. There are many single men. There are these, there are widowers, there are men that had never been married before. But the question is not just the church preaching it. The question is the society giving the widow a level playing field. And then the widow herself being enough, bold. A lot of widows are timid, being bold enough to even accept that she wants to remarry.
A level playing field. I'm going to take this, your level playing field, and go to Bumi's field. Bumi, where are you?
She's
because
there.
You know, when I keep saying, when you know, you still come back to what I said, what I'm still trying to point out, because a level playing field, is a question of teaching. You know, because what is culture? Culture is what we have either been taught directly or indirectly, and people started practicing it over a time. It becomes a culture. Bumi, we are talking about young widows should be encouraged to marry, to go and marry. Paul said it as a Christian. You know, why we're keeping on Christian is that the reality is that when it comes to remarriage, the southern part of Nigeria is stuck. Yeah.
Paul,
okay.
When you, this is the concept that I don't encourage, I don't like hearing. When we are talking about the Bible, I've opened the Bible, what you are saying in that Timothy. When it started, when it in chapter 9, I will read it out. It said, do not let a widow under 60 years old be taken into that number, and not unless a young widow is among the unless. She has been a wife of one man, well reported for good work. She has brought up children. She has lodged strangers. She has washed the saints' feet. If she has relieved the afflicted, she has diligently followed everything. She's a widow, either young or old. But in now, widows, where they have begun to grow wanton against Christ. So the people is referring to are the widows who, let me finish, the widows who have, when you see a widow that have grown wanton against Christ, that cannot stay alone, he said encourage them.
And what does that want to mean?
That is what I'm saying. The ones that cannot do it, that you have seen that they are living the teachings of the Bible, encourage them. But the way you are saying it is like all widows should be encouraged. And that is why I keep emphasizing, as a professional, don't tell anybody go and be married. We don't have right to tell anybody go and remarry. The pulpit doesn't have right to stand up there and tell widows go and remarry. It's your choice. My profession, what will make you happy? If remarriage will make
good.
Staying alone will make you happy, stay. It's not the pulpit that is coming to tell you what to do if that is right.
A level play.
It's not tell you to go and do. It has already said it. If you can stay there, he said the one that are wanton against Christ. Go and read it to 9 and 10. It's specified. And that
I have it 14. Remember, okay. Yes. Okay, you remember, I have had what the discussion is not forced. Nobody is being forced. The discussion is about you know, information, education, which boils to culture and their religion. We are talking about, you know, last weekend, I don't know, was it last weekend? There's a young man that we talked about when I did this remarriage in an uphill tax for widows in our culture, especially the Southern. And he called me after the radio talk, and he said to me that he met a young lady, and they started talking, you know, after some time. That's, you know, very pretty young lady here in the street of Lagos. Nice thing. But after some time, you know, when it became serious and the girl had to sit down and tell her that she was married, she had a daughter. After 3 years, the husband died. The man took off. And I asked him, I said, but why? He said, ma, but he's a widow. How old is he? No, it's not funny. I want us to look at this thing, you know. How old is this girl? He said, I think he said 29, and this young boy was about 34 or so. I said, he's a widow. That is the only point. He said, yes, you know, how a widow. You need to see his face and the description, the way he was saying it. He's a widow, you know, and you could see the confusion. And I put it to Gozie, please, because we said, Gozie, I'm going to come to Gozie. You made one point, a level playing ground. Nobody will force anybody to. And no, you said it. No young person was told to go and marry. But growing up, we were taught. I was raised in an SU family. You know, when you go there, they tell you about keeping yourself holiness until you get married. That is an indirect teaching. That is a teaching that they have taught us. They didn't say go and marry. Of course, they're not going to say go and marry. They are teaching you that at certain age of your life, while you're growing, this is going to happen. Keep yourself, and eventually you go and get married. And my discussion still goes based. Hold on, I will bring to your face the sweetheart. Based on this young boy's experience, because everything was going on right until he now says he's a widow. And the only reason the boy said, she's a widow. And I say it to you, and I still say it, that is because of that indoctrination. Somehow he kept up learning directly and indirectly from culture. Then he now goes into the church. The church, if I'm a Sunday school teacher in the church, if we start indirectly and start teaching, we're not saying go and tell anybody to go and kill anybody, but as the Bible said it, get married, live happily. When you marry, every young person should, the girl when she wants to can go and marry, the boy when she wants can go and remarry. And eventually, hello?
Yeah, we are here.
Oh, but they cut me off. I'm here. Yes, please. Go say, look at this boys' level playing ground. We were taught growing up in the church. Keep yourself holy, and get at that age, the princess will come and marry you. So don't you think? I'm not saying for anybody. I'm saying becomes a culture, and it can see it acceptable in their mind after a time. So that, just like you said, that the mother-in-law will not be using cutlass to wait for the son. You mean the girl in the Lagos is widow? I mean, talk to me, please.
Okay, I need to have a clarity of what I should address. Is it the attitude of the widow
level play
in society towards the widow remarrying, or the attitude of the man who wants to remarry that ran away? Now, the attitude is, is it not obvious that if this young boy, having come from culture and being a Christian, we have had this preaching about widows, remarriage, and every time, because that he wouldn't have had a mental block. Okay. Let me make a point. That boy or man, I will refer him to him as a boy. Mm-hmm. Because if he was a man, he would have known what he wanted. Mm-hmm. Now, he's not a Christian. He goes to church. There's a difference between a Christian. A Christian would have known what the Bible scripture says about remarrying and widows. So having cleared that part, now what I want to say is this. Mm-hmm. When we keep talking about church and their role, we come from families first. Mm. we socialize. Our socialization process. That's my area of interest. Our socialization process in Igbo land, even as a child, I remember seeing widows in the 80s in black, looking dejected. And you will know a young, pretty woman, but as the husband is buried, you see the widow trying to impress the society and look tattered and look rough and look downcast. Now, that socialization process puts gloom all around the widow. Now, it's assumed that, oh, this widow is bad luck. That's the socialization. You can't deny it. Oh, this person is bad luck. And most times, they even blame the woman for the husband's death. Some of them will say, oh, because she slept with a man outside. Because she slept with a man outside, the husband died. What about the man sleeping with a woman outside? Why wouldn't the wife also die? Why does he not kill the wife? Have we ever questioned that? And so we build up all these stupid and wrong impressions about widowhood. And these young men we are raising, they believe that a widow is stigmatized. So the process, if we have to bring down and dismantle all those thinking patterns, we have to start from the families. I have a 21-year-old son, and he knows what I believe about widows. Now, I have people around me, and they know what I believe. What about other homes? Now, come to the society. What does the society talk about widowhood? Even the books our children read in school, go and check some of the primary, secondary school. When they draw a widow, they draw a person that will look like a witch. Then they will draw a married woman, and they draw fancy. If I find such a book, I will tear it. Because a widow is not frustrated. Do we look frustrated? We're not frustrated. We're not frustrated. So we have to begin to change the mindset. I have a book. I'll find it when I get back to Enugu. That has the picture of a widow with children all around her dejected. It's a lie. So we need to deconstruct that falsehood and begin to change the mindset of people that a widow is an asset. She's not a liability. Now, the church can get involved if they so wish. But if
they so wish, okay? Okay.
It's the family, it's the society. I don't want to force the pulpit to tell people to change their mindset. Because if you are a Christian,
we are not.
If you are a Christian and you are born again, you will treat people well, whether they are widowed or not. A lot of us are churchgoers, and even these pastors that are preaching, when their wives die, they don't remarry widows, so they go and remarry new chassis. So we are
going to come there. We are because I'm going to take what you said, changing our mindset, because that is still the point. You said the family, Regina. Yeah, Regina, where's my Reggie? Reggie, over to you. Changing our mindset.
Yes.
Changing our mindset. You know, two things we are picking in from what she said: level playing ground and changing our mindset. Why I'm putting it, remember what we are looking at is widowhood and religion. How religion, and because we are, four of us are predominantly Christian, we have a bigger authority or a more informed authority to talk using Christianity. So anybody listening us, all our listeners, if you have a discussion to put on based on Islam, please put it on the wall. It's very much welcome. Why we are talking Christianity is because four of us are Christian, and that's where we have more information. So we don't go and talk. So she said two things: change mindset. What is it called? Level playing ground. When Christianity came into Nigeria, what did they do? They gave us education so that they can inform us and educate us. So meaning education and information is part of religion. So I am still sending it to, how do we change mindset? We are saying the North is even South, we know, me and you ready, is predominantly Christian. That is predominant. So, and because it's predominant, our culture is, because even the hidden, because the hidden is no longer acceptable, it's not fashionable. Even the hidden practice, try to conform to the majority of them, try to conform to the Christian religion, even if they don't go to church. So level playing ground and the changing our mindset. How do you really think? Because that's what I'm trying to bring up. How do we start? Remember, and put the third one. When Christianity came to Nigeria, they used education and information to acculturate us. So I still go back. Is it enough to call widows and cancel them?
You see, it's this discussion is very interesting on the fact that I think you are anchoring on the fact that you want the change agents to be from the church, because one, we know something is already
because that's what that is what we are discussing. Well, other things we bring other changes.
You
That's
want
we are
the
looking
church
from the religion.
I agree with you that the church is a change agent, and I absolutely agree with you on that. But let's get it fact. I like the fact that you went back before Christianity came. Was the widow ever treated nicely? I think it hasn't. And so that tells you, like Gose said, it's a societal thing. It's a societal thing. So if the people that went into church did not allow the information and the education that ought to help them change their mindset, work for them, they can't change, even if they're in the church. So that it's one thing to take a horse. It's another thing to make the horse drink its water. Now, I agree absolutely that there is a level playing ground. But who creates the level playing ground? The widow should be the one. I should be the one to take the bull by the horn. Now, I have seen widows most of the times, just like you. Now, let me tell you the truth about it. There are some widows that fall in love and they care less. You could go to hell and nobody comes back to tell them, why did you not do it? We've seen children, before they became widows, you get married.
Yeah.
Have we seen children defy their parents and still went with their love? What is it changing? I still stand on the fact that, look, we are making the church look at the real cause, but the truth of it is the mindset within the society. Most times the widows don't even see that once the husband dies. Look at me now. It took me years before I became comfortable, and I'm confessing now, comfortable removing the wedding ring. Those were the things that
everybody
found out. I couldn't remove the wedding ring because why am I still bearing Chris Ogodo? Why didn't I willingly go back to my father's name? The Bible didn't tell me that immediately. When he died, I should own his name. But there is the mental. There's something mental about it that I'm finding it difficult to cut off from me. Now it has to work like that. Yes, mental. I know. And that is, if you go to a pastor as a widow, you want to marry, you think that some of these pastors are willing to tell you, go ahead and do it. But
of course, no, yes, for sure.
That even, yes, because so when we make it look like we want the church to come and say the book of First Peter says that allow widows, it will be tough for my sister. It will be very tough. I begin to tell you the book of the whole thing is that, like we do in my church, what we do is that the church actually stylishly puts widows under singles. If the church begins to do that without even coming directly, they put you under singles. They'll say single parents are single, and single, you don't join yourself. That way, I'm beginning to see action helping. But you're waiting for a pulpit, especially within the village. That would be a long thing as the band.
Wait. I'm going to stop you here. That will be a long wait. Okay, that will be a long wait. Well, the reality is this: the long wait is not going to be too long, because the truth is that these little things we are saying is making us is opening so many people's mind. Because I see people calling me and say that is a point you people make. I mean, I have had a pastor call me after my radio talk. He said that what we said is a good point that is not being preached, but that they have a dilemma at their hand. And what is their dilemma? Bumi, are you here? Are you there? Because Bumi that is telling me that those that cannot stay. Bumi, we are going to come to Bumi. Bumi, where are you? We are going to come to the day where I'm going to tell you that not some are strong, some are weak. But the reality is that we need to help make a straight discussion so that everybody will have a chance. Level playing ground. Gozie, that point is very tough. So the person, he called me after the talk on radio on our WFM talk, discussion. He said what we are saying is right. What we are saying that is not being discussed in the pulpit, and it makes that what I said made sense. That now part of their reason is that they don't want to be seen that they are encouraging widow. Let it not be that they are telling they are supporting women now, so that tomorrow the husband, if you just the small mistake the woman will make, the husband will say, Shebi, the pastor has told you that you should go and that when I die you will remarry. So are you getting this? So saying this, because I heard what you said, you made your discussion. The Bible said this. Because like you said, you don't take it from the isolation. But I took that because that's what, remember I said encourage. How do you encourage somebody? If you encourage, just like Gozie said, our social system has developed a mindset. That social system, are they not part of the members of the church? Do you really think that if this is being preached, we not say every day preach about, but make it a discussion, so that people will be open their mind. Yes, I agree with Regina. Regina said, not everybody, that's even if you can't force them. But the reality is that I am a Christian, and me and you know that there are so many things that we would have done, if not for the preaching, that every day they preach it. After some time, we become convicted and change. So don't you think that there is need to look into this remarriage, considering that there are too many young people coming up, and the levirate marriage is no longer fashionable, and it's not biblical?
Yes. See, this issue that we are talking about people remarrying, widows, young widows, even if you're a widow of 70 years, you want to remarry, it's not just young widows. Go and remarry. Don't count young widows alone. When you are talking about encouraging people to marry, encourage everybody generally. And the issue there is why a lot of people are doing this thing and not getting married is, one, let's be realistic. You are just talking about encouraging. If you have a brother that wants to marry now, and now house, looking sorrowful, no job, you encourage your brother to marry. No. So the first thing we can even talk about marriage, we need to change their mindsets, like what Gozie said. Their perspective of life needs to change. When you have your perspective in the right direction, nobody is going to tell you that I'm not to be married. When your mindset is set straight, everything, see, as a widow, there's nothing you can tell them about their mental health. Any mental health issue in their life needs to be solved first before they can even think of marriage. Because before they can think, they don't want to be married. So all these things that we are talking, the religion, the pulpit preaching, if the pulpit, let the pulpit preaching money till now, unless their mental health is addressed and they know where they are.
Bumi, hold on. I'm going to cut you there because we are going to deal mental health. Remember, what we are dealing is religion religion and widowhood, and we are now bringing out some of the point. Yes, this mental, of course. The reality is this: if you preach to kingdom come, the person that doesn't want to repent will not repent. And it's the Holy Spirit that will eventually get the people that will repent. But what we are talking about is some of the things that we have found that is an issue. Gozie, please, I'm going to come back to you. Because Gozie, you said it. Of course, I agree. Social issue, our social culture and everything is a big issue that we are going to deal with that one. It is a big time issue. But I still believe, I was raised a Christian, Gozie. I said it growing up. When we were told, that is the reason that they say, don't do it, live holy so that you get married. This one and that one. It becomes something that I learned and it guided, and I was afraid because that was what, and eventually I got married. Gozie, where are you? Level playing ground. And I go back. Christianity came into Nigeria. and they had to educate us. They had to teach us the religion using education. It is in the process of teaching us that they convicted us and converted us, and we left polygamy. Don't ever, let us not forget that. It was in the process of that teaching, preaching, that the majority of our culture, our people has left polygamy. So my question still is, if this is an issue, I've studied, this young boy eventually said that he cannot marry he told me, Ma, she's a widow. So are we not seeing the mental thing that came in from growing up in the society and getting into the church, and these issues are not being addressed? Because please.
It's not, I will keep saying it. It is not the sole responsibility of the church to address the issue of.
No, we're not saying the sole.
That's number one. The family has to be involved. The society has to be involved. And let me tell you something. The widow herself has to be involved. Let me say something to you. When a man sees a woman, a widow, not even specifically a widow, when your perception of remarrying is to have a man to take care of your children, of course the man think you are coming to to take from her. What is the perception of a widow that is remarrying? Some widows want to remarry because they need a man to take. Who told them that the man can take care of their children? Some men can't buy pants
to pay their bill.
For who will pay school fees for your children? You have to yourself build. Any day I decide to remarry, I have so much to bring to the table. I'm not going to the table empty-handed. A lot of widows, we have to call a spade a spade. A lot of widows go into remarry very needy, pitiable, needy, and so the families have the impression of bringing other men's children. So these things, we have to talk about it holistically. If we are going to sit down and wait for the church to tell men to remarry, no. If you are a man and you meet a woman you love and she's widowed, who told you that the one you will marry, that is a virgin, that you will not die one day and she will also become widowed and somebody else will marry? It's the mental state. When I published my book last year, a young man posted my book on his wall and asked his fellow men, what would they do if their wives brought home widowhood redefined? Some said they would chase the wife away. Some said they will divorce the wife. The mental state of our young men in their 20s. So they believe that a widow should be a certain way. And that's why people like us that come out and very vocal and do life the way we want, they have problems with us. I have 5,000 friends. I can tell you that of them don't like me. Why? Because they expect me to go into hiding and look drabby and look sorrowful and cry and wear rags. That's I'm not angry with them. It's the way society has given them. So they come to ask me, are you sure you are widowed? And because they don't see me angry, some of them insinuate, oh, maybe she's even happy her husband died. Not because they have evidence, but because I'm living like what the society told them a widow should live like. So we widows will have to change that perception.
Living like what a society told them they will look like. That is it. Because, you said living like what the society, that's the truth. You remember I said it here. The society told me subconsciously, they didn't say it to me direct.
Yes.
Growing up from Igbo. They didn't say it to me direct, growing up from Igbo. The only thing I knew was from that time that it was once upon a time, it was a leverage marriage. Regina, back to you. Once upon a time, it was a leverage marriage growing up. That's what society told me. They didn't call me and tell me this. Then being a Christian and I grew up in a church, I left from that society, I went into the church. And the next thing I got out of the church from everyday preaching was Jesus is the husband of the widow. I will use myself an example. So 27, listen, it's because, let me tell you, it's because today's widow are being advantaged to hear this. Because today's widow are being advantaged to hear this, our discussion and this, our change. But then, having gotten into the church, coming from a society that was a leveraged marriage and which was out of fashion, and into the church that kept telling me Jesus is the husband of the widow. I tell you, as a 27-year-old widow, I was a technical knockout, according to my son. And by 4 years into that, a young man from US came back and was asking for my hand in marriage, an Igbo man.
But Jesus was your husband.
And I looked at him.
Not marry the man.
I looked at him. No, listen, God, Regina, I'm coming back to you. I looked at him and I said to myself, this guy is either he's 419, he wants to do me wayo. And from that, I now said to myself, what will I say to my mother? What will I say to my in-law? What will the society say? What will I say? Because two things that nurtured my brain was the culture and the religion. And they did not give me any chance of learning, of getting indoctrinated that remarriage is a widow's entitlement. What do you have to say?
I see, I would answer you two ways, and I'm still talking from the perspective of what I know. I'm talking from the perspective of, I don't think that if you were to be the one here today, an average widow at that your age today will act the way you are. One, because whether you like it or not, the church too has transformed and has evolved to some
They
level.
are transforming. Yeah. Yes, good. That's true.
Yeah,
That's
so
true.
be very fair to the church. The church in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even 2010 are not the same. Gone are the days when the church would say a husband would beat her, and then the next will say, go and pray. The church is getting wiser at that. We are beginning that to a high degree, that is a little bit understanding. But let me come back to you. I think what idea is for us to accept the fact that the society must also change. The society must accept the fact that a young widow too can remarry if she so wishes.
If she so wishes.
We must put it as an underlining factor if she wishes. But you see, and I'm telling you also, most of us are the ones putting an albatross in front of us. One of the things that
we are going to address that one. Yes. In fact, it's going to be our discussion next Saturday.
Good. My children. Now the point is this. We want them to marry. And let me be the devil's advocate here. Sometimes if a widow is left with 3 children, 4 children, yes, he has a kind of a job. And then who do you want her to encourage her to go? Will that man be honest and willing to take care of her children? That is one. Has the society grown? Has the society grown to the extent that will say, okay, they can stay with their father's people. They can stay with their father's people when the mother gets married. Are you sure, even you will not sleep under the roof of that new husband? Because your mind is already thinking, I would never do that. And I think most of these ladies are taking up the second option, which is, okay, I'd rather stay. But
and
I think
I'd rather stay and raise my children.
Yes. So what we are doing, and I bless God for our lives, is that we're telling ourselves this truth, that there is a possibility of, with careful check, careful understanding of another system, and understanding, that's the word, we can still go and get married if you so wish. I'm still repeating that line.
If you wish, of course.
But we must also encourage the church to see it. We have to encourage the church, because sometimes we blame the church for encouraging. Because when things go sour, it's the church that bears the brunt. Oh, the church is the one that is telling me. I'm sorry, I'm feeling for them.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to drop it here. Bumia, I'm coming to you. You know, remember, all these examples, other things, we are dealing religion, and we're going to come to culture. We're going to come to widow herself. We are going to, because the reality is this. Every point we're making here is, every point of this, we want to because the society is made, what guides us now is our society. In our society is your family, the church, your workplace, your circle of influence. These are part of the discussion. I mean, these are what makes up that level playground. The various people that are inside that field that will make the level playground. Abumi, I'm going to come back to you because I'm still putting this. There's no, I have not gotten. In fact, you people should. In fact, I demand that one day the culture should come and apologize to women. We're going to get to that point that we're going to ask for those gender equality, the school of thought. We get the men to apologize to the women, because I will still take it back to our great grandmothers that have died. Because if we do not start looking at this thing from the roots, we cannot get it on the top. Where is Bumi? Bumi
is here.
You said that the church. I'm going to come back. We are talking about encouragement. So let's leave it. How can the church now, moving forward, what do you think that when it comes to, last Sunday we talked about social empowerment and everything. When it comes to now, this issue of remarriage, how can the church help to bring it to the forefront as information, as education, and at the same time, as preaching that is in the Bible?
Like the encouragement you are talking about, you have to start from our top pastors. When their wife died, they were married widows.
Okay.
Start saying that widow is good to marry. But when a general overseer wife died, he now look at all the beautiful single ladies, where to go and pick one. And all those widows are there, young, old, and beautiful, and decide, I don't want them. So what do you want the other members to do? They won't marry because the
Not me talk about.
has not done it. So why should I do it? So we need to let our pastor understand that start marrying widows.
Okay. Well, tell them to start looking inward and start. Anyway, I wanted to say to start doing what they preach, but they are not preaching it because we are not agreeing that we are preaching it.
Oh, hold on. Not only marrying widows. You know what is so funny about when all these men want to marry, they will tell the people this is the experience I'm talking about too. When I was in the uni.
Yeah, it's true.
They will be telling the girls, don't dress well, you are SU, you are this. Then when it's time for those brothers to go and marry, they will go and bring those beautiful sisters.
Bumi, Odabo, your time has gone. I go here. Over to you.
That's your thought.
Okay. Over to Gozie. You have given us one. Bumi has made one point. Why? And I will ask it as a question. Why is it that even we are talking about widows remarriage and everything, that even a pastor, when the wife dies, goes to, doesn't find any widow good enough for him? That is Bumi's. Bumi answered the question before I ask it. So, Gozie, back to you. Encouragement. We are going to deal with social issue next week.
The church
How can they encourage?
The church should incorporate in their teaching the 1 Timothy 5. It shouldn't be left exclusively for widow support group. The church should incorporate it.
Thank you.
And those young widows should also be encouraged, if they need the encouragement.
Yeah. Okay. Regina, on a round note, how can we, because we are looking at encouragement, because we are doing religion and the widowhood, how do we as a church, because it's all of us, at least the good thing that 4 of us here, God knows that in heaven, God will mark us because we are now doing our own encouragement, which is teaching it. So now using the church and every other person, how can we now take that step of encouraging them? Remember that Paul, I think it was what Paul saw. And that thing Paul saw, if people are not seeing it, it means that we need to go and increase your glasses. Because that thing that Paul saw is still going on. Plenty, big time. So how do we encourage them based on what Paul saw, so that that thing that Paul saw will not continue to exist in our church?
Yes. Okay, the church should be more encouraging and more embracing. You see, sometimes there are some scriptures that if you realize that if you're a Bible scholar, the church hardly talks about. And that is one of these scriptures. We should make it like Jose said, it should be a pulpit once in a while. We should talk about it and let the world know that it's part of the scripture. It's not supposed to be a special house fellowship or widows fellowship talk. Let it be well known. And then also the society too, to broaden its mindset and realize that, look, there is also a life after. The women, I mean, we should, if we are telling prisoners that we should embrace them, there should not be some stylish stigmatization of widows. They're humans. They can continue with life. We should do that. Yes.
Okay. Okay, we have had that discussion today. We have agreed that there's need for church to start encouraging widows. Bumi made her own point. Why is it that I said that pastors, even in their church, they become widowed, they leave the widowed, I leave the widows, and they go for the young girls. Then Bumi, let me even add to you that you don't have to go far there, because even if it's that enough, if you see my grandfather will become widow, he will not leave me, and instead of coming for me, we go for my grandchildren. So that is a discussion that we will deal with when we now talk about the social system. Then Gozie said it true, that 1 Timothy 5:14 is a discussion that once in a while, he did not say every day stand on the pulpit and be talking, so you don't scare people off. I mean, we are not we're just saying something that is balanced, that we should not do it. Then Gozie, Regina now said the same thing. I am saying the same thing. What that thing that Paul said that he saw in the church is existing, because 22-year-olds and 23, 24 that just got married, their life is just starting. So preaching to them holiness and other things without preaching remarriage, so that somebody will find them welcoming, so that the mother-in-law will not be carrying cutlass to be waiting for her that she has charmed the son, right? So that the sisters-in-law or the boy will not look at her and look at the audacious something is, you see some, when they now come, eventually they find that it's a widow, they go out and go and marry, and we now have the audacity to come back for you to be the second class. I mean, the reality is this: nobody is being forced. We are not saying force anybody. We are saying let's do what we are supposed. Just like the Christianity came, they gave us education that made us to be converted and pick and drop our primitive cultures. Let's preach what is in the Bible, so that we can have a mental change. And with that, let's say bye-bye. Regina, say bye-bye to everybody.
Hey, bye. Thank you. I enjoyed today.
Bumi,
More
bye.
of it.
Yeah, Bumi, bye-bye. Where's Bumi?
Our engineer. What should we
Our engineer, yes, Engineer Bumi. Gozie, say bye-bye to everybody.
Bye. Next weekend.
God bless you.
See you guys. Yes. Yeah, see you all next weekend, and have a very lovely Sunday tomorrow. And if you can go to church, stay safe indeed. Stay safe. Thank you, ladies. It was an interesting discussion.
Thank you. Bye.